one of the issues with Bill, I think, is going to be his ego, and is going to be. I think the Patriots need to have someone else in there helping to call some of the shots. Bill has had GM privileges, which not a lot of head coaches have for years, and he's made good. Potentially his entire career, entire career with the Patriots. I forget about that part if that's true, but and he's had good draft picks. He's assembled good rosters, and this has happened, but there have been some clear roster issues throughout the year this season. Throughout the season, some may say last season, some may say the season before. Some may say the last season or two with Brady. Right? You can go back. There have been some terrible whiffs in the draft. There have been whiffs in free agency, and that's an issue. And they need someone else there, in my opinion, to help steer that horse. I think his talents. I think he will. There's a good chance he'll stay with the Patriots because he could still coach an amazing defense, despite that terrible loss against Buffalo like a couple years ago, that historic loss. That other than that, he could coach good defense. They've held the other teams in the weeks that the Patriots did not score a single point. The other teams scored like 10 points, 9 points, 6 points. It was something like that. They've been holding teams. This defense has still been holding teams to very little. Without their top 2 players, top 3 players, maybe at points down 4 cornerbacks, they've had issues with personnel this year on defense. And I feel like the defense has played pretty well, but they need some sort of burst of life on offense, both potentially coaching. I don't know about that, but at the very least roster talents, right? It's been enough. I'm fully out on Mac. Whether it's his fault, whether other years, I don't know. I'm out on him. It's time, It's like they need a new direction, but it's also I don't know if I trust Bill to then draft that quarterback. I don't know if what's to run that offense. They need more than just drafting a quarterback. They're gonna draft an offensive tackle this year, and I'm gonna hate it, but it's gonna be the right choice because they need everything. Offense, I know I'm really sidetracking here, but I think Bill will stay with the Patriots because I'm going to hope that he will see, wow, we are ass. I don't know if I can say that on this podcast.
You can.
Wow.
You can.
Wow. We need hopefully he'll say Kraft will he'll be able to say, okay, Kraft, fine. We'll take in the GM. I get to pick the GM. I'm going to get to pick one. He's going to help with the draft. I'm going to trust that Bill isn't going to try to strong, because I don't think Kraft wants him. I don't think we're going to strong arm him out. I'm going to hope he's going to say, okay, we're just going to get someone in. We're going to get someone else in, another cook into the kitchen, and we're going to try to work. We're going to try to have 2 cooks, not just Bill being the cooking everything at once. Let Bill focus on what he's good at. Let someone else try to help with the offense that has struggled even in the last Brady years.
Yeah, I think that question of does Bill have the pride to give up the more GM part of his job? That's if he maybe can, I can see that relationship sort of possibly working out, and I think it makes sense for Bill to stay in New England and finish his career there and get the record there. But honestly, if I was New England and I was in charge, I think I'd be letting Bill Belichick go. And I'm not sure if you've seen the video, but it was a viral clip of Zappy coming into the locker room, dapping up Bill O'Brien, right? Or no?
Bill. It was.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien, the offensive coordinator. He daps him up. They're looking excited after the big win on Thursday night, and then he sees Bill, and it's just like a completely different reaction. It's like stone-faced. It's like, and then it's like a really awkward handshake, and it's just, and I think that if you look at the Bill Belichick coaching tree, you can see that this type of culture that he has built there for 20 years, although it's been the greatest dynasty of all time, it has not transferred very well anywhere else. You can see, look at his coaching trees. The best coaches that have coached after him is definitely Nick Saban, but not in the NFL. He did not have success in the NFL, only in college. But you look at after that, Patricia. It's Bill O'Brien, right? Is probably the best head coach. You've got Patricia, Brian Flores, Joe Judge, Dayball, Romeo Cornell, Josh McDaniels, of course.
Josh McDaniels,
yeah,
classic.
I mean, they are his coaching tree as head coaches are 219 and at 306 win-loss record.
That's
Um,
hey, that's a lot more wins than I thought. Is that counting college though?
no,
Isn't
it's
that
not. It's just in
no?
the NFL. So
Hey,
two hundred and
that's more
nineteen
wins than
and
I thought.
306, but it's under 500, and most of
Yeah,
those coaches, only 2 of them are above 500 in the NFL. A guy named Al Groh, which seems like a fake name if you've ever done any prank calls, and Bill O'Brien, who's 4 games over
nice.
500, and that's his only coaching tree. So,
Hey,
so that's one part of it. The other part of it is, well, it's worked in New England, so why can't he just stay in New England? And I think the answer to that is the NFL has changed, and I think he's kind of fallen behind that. If you look at a coach like McDaniels, who's having success in his own division, he speaks to players like they're on the same level, closer to their peers. And I understand McDaniels is 30 years younger, but that might also be part of the problem. Bill Belichick is 71. So if I was the Patriots, I would fire him. And then and the transition to the next idea here is like if he does lose a job or he says I'm not going to give up GM duties and they kind of have some sort of split, where does he go? I think there's going to be a lot of open positions. I'm thinking Panthers, Chargers, Bills, Raiders, maybe Titans, Commanders will be
it's not.
open. Bears should be open. The entire NFC South should
I
have
mean, yeah,
positions open besides maybe just the one that gets in the playoffs. Maybe even they'll
maybe.
lose their head coach.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so if I was,
if Bill's available, yeah,
I just think that you know, he's going to want to go somewhere like the Chargers and the Bills. But I'd be curious if they're going to want to take him, especially the Chargers after what happened with Staley being a defensive coach. And if he ends up leaving New England, I think he's going to have to be, unfortunately, coaching for one of these more dumpster fire franchises like the Washington Commanders. I could really see him with the Washington Commanders because, it's either he if he gets fired, he has to coach because I mean, how much time does he have left? You tell him he's going to go take 5 years
oh
off.
yeah,
He's 71.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
so he's going to
Yeah.
have to end up trying to grind out wins with the Bears or the Panthers or something like that. What do you think if he wasn't in New England, which you say you think he's going to be in New England, you think that they'll work that out? If he's not, where do you think he's going to end up?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I think he'll be in the same way the Patriots, always trade back. And of course, this is Bill doing this, but always trade back in the draft. Always this. It's not excited. I remember when we living together. We are going to watch the draft. Boom, Cole Strange, offensive lineman. Trade back and then pick Cole Strange, right? So I'm expecting that for that. That's part of it. Is that vibes based part there? But I'm thinking, I think places where he'd want to go, Chargers is obviously a big one. That they have a lot there. Yes, they maybe still want to go through a rebuild, but that is a place that if they're willing to pay for Bill Belichick and potentially trade, because Bill's still, they might have to, I don't think the Pats are just fired. They're going to trade him potentially for a first round pick. Sean Payton got one, and most people, even the most ardent Bill haters, I think are going to say that he's better than Sean Payton.
Yeah, for
So I think a first round pick. What's going to be tough is that a team I want to trade a first round pick, the Broncos traded like the 27th or something. It was like a late first. I think it was the Dolphins first. Maybe it was 23 or something, which is more palatable than what if the Bears want to trade for him and they're going to have like the number 1 and number 5 picks or something, and they're not going to want to trade one of those. But I think a place like the Bears could be a decent place if they trade a next year first. Maybe if they trade 2 seconds, something like that. Because imagine if you're the Bears and you have holes in the team, sure, but they're potentially going to have 2 top 5 picks, and if they can trade for Bill without giving one up, which would be crazy if Bill goes for a top 5 pick, and the Patriots should do that in a heartbeat if the Bears will offer that, but I don't think they will. That's what that should be. Like in that, Bill, I think Bill would love that. Bears are a historic team, right? One of the original sort of football teams. I think Bill would love that. I feel like that idea. I'm gonna get the wins record with the Bears. Like that's a history defense right there. They beat the Patriots in the 86 or so, and they have picks and they have a ton of draft capital. Falcons are another sneaky pick. Imagine they win the NFC South potentially. Like if they were to, they have their picks. Trade that if they have pick 18. Trade that. Get rid of Arthur Smith. Get Bill Belichick in there. I think that is a contender. That team has a ton of talent. Actually, they need a quarterback too.
They just need
Never
to
mind.
figure out the QB though,
Kirk,
and then they
Kirk in free agency. Even though he's going to be hurt, get Kirk in free. Hire me, Falcons, to be an assistant to the GM. No, get Kirk in free agency. Trade for Bill. I think that team is a contender right there.
wow.
Right.
I mean,
Hot take. They have
it,
so much talent on that team. They just coach isn't great, quarterback isn't great. If you can solve that, I mean, and Chargers are the obvious answer. Chargers, they should. Will they? I don't think so. Also, because the Chargers' record's pretty bad. I think if they have a top 15 pick, if you're trading Bill for the number 12th overall, that's a much tougher sell than for 23 overall. I feel like. So I feel like that's going to be part of this. But I agree. I mean, there are a lot of places he could go.
I think that you're a little bit hotter on Bill Belichick still, which makes sense
I am.
than
But
I
yeah.
am. I just don't. I even some of the stuff you're saying makes sense. Like Atlanta would be a good landing spot for him. I just don't know if I
I mean,
believe that it's going to
it's
work.